Welcome to Seasoned Conversations, where experience meets insight and life's journey reveals its deepest wisdom. I'm your host, Kenneth Braswell, and here we share authentic stories of reinvention, purpose, and fulfillment from the seasoned paths we walk. Together, we'll explore how to age boldly, live intentionally, and embrace our second act with clarity and confidence. So pull up a chair. There's always room at the table for seasoned conversations.
Hi, this is Tracy Braswell, and you are here with me today on Seasoned Conversations. I am hosting today, and in the hot seat is Kenneth Braswell, who is your normal host. We're doing part 2 of our financial conversation in the seasoned life. So I want to just take a moment and just say welcome to everyone. Husband, you want to say something?
It's kind of hot over here. I don't know what's going on over here, but it's kind of a little more toasty on this side of the mic.
Toastier? Yeah. All right. So the last time we were together, we were talking about, we kind of had started delving into the conversation about finances once we reached the seasoned stage of our lives, right? Mm-hmm. And so we got a lot of feedback from that, right?
Yes, we did. Goodness, people were just asking questions, wanted to know more, or wanted the conversation to continue, which it can. There's so much to talk about when you're talking about finances.
Absolutely, absolutely. I don't think the last time that we spoke about this, that you just have to remind me because, you know, we seasoned. Mm-hmm. I don't remember if we talked about my background.
No, we did not.
Okay. So probably should just let the audience know that what is it? Before Kenny, BK?
Right before, yeah, BK.
I was actually a financial...
BKB.
BKB, yes. Yeah. So before Kenneth Braswell, by the way, before we continue,
and before
happy
BKBJ,
anniversary.
And before BKBJ. Sorry,
way
go ahead.
Before.
She'll explain that.
Yeah. So happy anniversary.
I know, 15 years, and we still together.
At 21, if you don't count the marriage
See, I don't
years.
know that.
I know that.
It's fuzzy math.
It's not fuzzy math.
Well, no, it's fake news.
One thing that a woman's going to know is when we got together.
I know receipts. What the date is when I knew her.
Well, in that case, maybe we need to add some more time. But anyway, happy anniversary, babe. It's been a joy and a pleasure. Mm-hmm. And looking forward to many, many more.
At least 50 more.
I'll go for it.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's do it. I like it. I like it a lot.
My God is an awesome God.
Yes, he is. So let's get back on topic because, you know, we will go down the bunny path. But anyway, so what I was saying is before Kenny and I were together, my background was in personal finance. And the reason why I was so intrigued by that field is because I had gone through some a financial journey of my own that was a lot of ups and downs. So I wound up getting into the financial field, working for major financial firms as financial advisors, consultants. And I did that for about 14, 15 years. And then when God had given the vision to Kenny to start Fathers Incorporated, I did it for a little bit longer, maybe a couple more years longer. And then when I went on maternity leave with Kenneth Braswell Jr., right. Kenny said to me, you know, you don't have to continue working for someone else. We can build our own empire. And that was all I needed to hear. Resignation submitted. And so we've been rocking together ever since. However, all throughout the years, I've never, my passion for personal finance has never diminished. And so I've created curriculums. I've taught classes at church. And it's just been a passionate thing that I've had all throughout the years. I have literally provided financial counsel to friends and family, free of charge, by the way. I don't recommend doing that, but just putting it out there. But that's how passionate I am about it, that I was willing to do it for free. We're going to monetize it in the future, but right now, we were doing it for free. And so this is definitely one of my sweet spots. But I'm going to put Kenny on the hot seat today to talk about finances and just kind of get his perspective. Because when you get a little bit older, one of the things that I'm about to do for our church is we're doing something called 30-30 vision. And so the cutoff was 30 and under, 30 and above. But it changes depending on what age you're in.
Okay.
So let's start talking about like your under 30 years. What was money? What was your story about money growing up? And then when you became an adult, and I know you have a really interesting take on when you were in the Army and how like these things shaped how you managed money or how you viewed money.
You know, we talked about it, or I talked about it more specifically in the first episode, kind of walked through it. But in general, it was a mess. Before 30 was a mess for me. I think that when I look back at my finances at 30, I was in complete chaos. I didn't know how to turn. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know how to earn. I didn't know what to do with it. I was just literally trying to either not be homeless
Yeah.
or not be locked up. That's what my 30s were. With money, that was my relationship with it. I was either going to be homeless or locked up. And the work was in knowing, for me, that I had potential, right, to not have to do either. But I didn't know how to go about doing that. And I think that it was an exposure of my gifts that God allowed me to see. And a girlfriend that I had at the time who also saw my potential. It was when I first moved to Albany, right? This was 2 years after I had moved to Albany. And her thing to me was, why don't you go to school? And I'm like, for what? Like, I was never told that school was an option. I didn't think college was an option for me. And so walking home one day and walked past the Albany Business College is what it was called at the time. It actually turned into a much bigger thing. But I remember when it was a small little space on Central Avenue. And I went in and talked to the counselor that night, and he signed me up. And I started taking classes and started loving it. And next thing you know, I had 2 majors. I was doing both computer science and accounting. And that, from what I was always told, was crazy. Like, no one takes the 2 of those together. It's very difficult to do. So I went through, from the accounting perspective, everything from bookkeeping to understanding, you know, how to assets and liabilities and debt and all of these things, and even an extended piece of it, which was accounting for the military, which I did not know was the exact opposite. But the way you look at asset and liabilities in military accounting is the exact opposite. And so everything is flipped. And so it took me a long time to kind of understand that. But I think that even understanding it from that point of view, I still didn't know how to apply it to my life.
Right. So that was going to be my next question, because understanding accounting doesn't necessarily mean that you understand personal finance, right? And I often have spoken with people who have great businesses. They have like their personal finances are a complete and total mess. They've meshed business finances with personal finances. I often find that your foundation, I believe, needs to be, you need to learn how to do your personal, manage that first, then get into business. Because there's so much you can carry over from the foundational piece into your business, and then you can build on that. So I remember, now this is going to be a funny story. I don't know if you remember this. One of our first dates, do you remember where you took me?
First date?
Yep.
Probably was somewhere to eat.
It was.
Yeah.
So it was right next door to where I was working at the time.
Oh yeah, a little spot. I can't remember.
I can't remember the
spot.
name of that little spot either.
Yeah.
Like Vanilla Bean or
That's
something.
it.
Is that
Vanilla
what
bean.
it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And do you remember the premise in which you took me there? Because it wasn't a date.
Well, the first time we ate was at my house, peanut butter and jelly. The first date.
No, you got it backwards. We went to Vanilla Bean because you said you needed somebody to help you with your finances.
Oh yeah. That was the first. That's how it flipped like that. Okay, yeah, you're absolutely right. I forgot that nuance.
And then you came back and was like, "Listen, I can't take you back there again. All I got is peanut butter and jelly."
Yeah. And but that whole time of my life was really in the midst of the depth of that struggle.
Yeah.
Like, and thank God that chance encounter came, because I think I was kind of over there one day for something else, not for you. I was over there for something else and happened to just run into you, and had a conversation, which is why I always believe that, God has a plan, and sometimes you just got to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember someone at my office told me to watch my time with you because they thought they were looking out for me. Mm-hmm. And they was like, "You going over there for free, giving out information?" I was like, "Yep, I'm good." Mm-hmm. And look where we are now.
Yeah. That's the beauty of it, right? Looking back and saying, yeah.
Like,
y'all was
all
yakking and talking. Y'all ain't know nothing. Y'all are all in the plan.
Yeah.
And didn't know anything.
Here's something
So here's the other thing that people don't know is, like, when we started talking at that point, because we weren't dating at that point, we were just really kind of just still somewhat friends. I was actually trying to hook her up with other people.
Craziness of it all. He was. You definitely were. And that was a fiasco.
Right. I was like, what are you trying to do? I'm feeding you at the table and you giving your food to total strangers that happen to be walking past. Like, what are you doing?
Goodness, that was a fiasco. I was like, also, I should say that at this point, I was aware. God had made me aware that you and I were going to be married. So you hooking me up with other people was hilarious. It was just comedy in my mind. I was like, dude. So, this is me praying to God, like, you gave me the memo, you might want to give it to him.
Well, I always said that to you, right? It don't really matter until he tells me.
I was like, and I feel like he got the memo. I think he ignored it for a minute. But hey, we're here now, so that's all good. That's all good. There was something that so when you and I first connected, I knew you were on the struggle bus. Like you were. I remember you had lost your business, car repos, housing situation wasn't stable. Like you were on the struggle bus, and I do remember in that time praying and God just showing me your potential and saying, like, he did all of that and he didn't even have anyone necessarily beside him to help him build all of that out. And so I knew for me, it was about seeing and knowing. It's because it's one thing about seeing someone's potential, but then knowing that the potential can come to fruition is a whole different story. And that's what God revealed to me about you, was not that you just had the potential, but you also had the ability to walk it out and walk in purpose. So, but back to the money part.
Okay.
So you go from that to, let's fast forward a little bit. There was a season where we were on system overload. My mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. She winds up coming to live with us. My sister, just before that, has a 4-month-old baby, comes up to visit, winds up living with us with a brand new baby. Then I'm pregnant. And then we have a teenage daughter in the house and a preteen daughter also. And we were all under one roof. And then came the time where you said God told you to leave your job.
Yes.
And boy, were those some stormy times. What do you remember about that season as it related to finances and how you were processing it?
Well, the crazy thing is, I think at that time I was starting to feel more comfortable about my abilities. And so, because prior to that, I'm going to take a step back, I started to get blessed as a result of my abilities. And my job positioning was starting to rise a little bit. And so I was working for the state at the time. This was prior to you. And this is an extension of me going to college for computer science because I was really good at it. Like if I wasn't doing this, I probably could have been easily Microsoft. My mind was just like that with computer science stuff. I built systems for the state of New York, all of those things. And as a result of that, they took me off of my clerk job and made me a consultant and started to pay me as a consultant. As a result of that, I'm making a whole lot more money. But because I don't know what to do with this consultant thing, when I got my check, it was like, woo-hoo.
Well, we talked about that the last episode because of the military background,
Right.
and the lack of training in terms of financial management. It was, and then take it back to your childhood, not living in lack. The minute you get money, and then there's no financial training.
Right.
Yeah.
You just go crazy.
Is where you are
Woo-hoo.
with your money.
And then all of a sudden this letter comes in the mail. Right? And it's Erwin R. Shyster. He used to be an old WWE wrestler, but he was agent at the IRS, but that was his name, Erwin R. Shyster. That letter shows up.
Yeah.
Hey, bruh.
Right. You owe some money.
Where's ours?
Yeah.
And I had to walk in and be like, listen, and the lawyers at the time wanted me to sue the state because they were coming from the perspective that I was still functioning as an employee in the building. I still had a desk. I was functioning as an employee, and they were paying me as a consultant.
Yeah.
And that never worked itself out. I end up finding a lawyer, and then they end up doing the offer and compromise, and I end up reducing these thousands and thousands of dollars to almost nothing in pennies and getting past it. And then them saying to me at the time, now here's the deal. Now that you're in the space and your debt is clean, you have to file your taxes every year on time for the next 5 years. And if you don't, all this stuff that was here before will come back. So that was a 5-year period that I had to by fire.
Yeah.
Figure this thing out.
Yeah.
And so it was on the backhand side of that where I then began to start understanding and learning, making more money, and then trying to figure out what to kind of do with this money. By the time I got to you, I had shifted from working for somebody to working for myself because I had 2 businesses. I had a newspaper because I was working for someone to which I lost my job. And then I didn't want to go back and work for anybody. So I started my own newspaper to become an entrepreneur.
Yep.
But I ain't know nothing about that either. I ain't know jack bone about entrepreneurship.
Right.
I knew how to get my EIN, which is crazy because most people get trapped by that today. Like, I think the process of establishing a business does a disservice to those who don't understand business because they think that to own a business is simply just getting an EIN number. No, my friend, it's about so much more than that.
Yeah.
So by the time I got to you, it was in the midst of, I think, my second leg struggle, which is now I know my potential. Now I kind of know where I'm going, but I've messed this up too now. And I'm in this space where I don't know where to go to next.
So in that particular season, one of the things that I remembered, something that you said to me that was so profound. it was in this space of knowing that you had this potential, this potential, but not having had it realized yet. And so I remember the first federal contract that...
Go back before the federal contract, because there was another significant moment before the federal contract.
Which one?
So I go and I speak at this workshop,
Mm-hmm.
and at this workshop, around fatherhood, because I had already started this new venture,
Mm-hmm.
which was Fathers Incorporated. Didn't know what I was going to do with it,
Mm-hmm.
but I started this venture, went out and spoke at this workshop, and at this workshop, the commissioner for a major New York State agency was there. A few days later, I got a phone call from a friend of mine who worked there who said, hey, the commissioner wants to speak to you about this money that they got from New York State to run this fatherhood initiative.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I ain't trying to do that. I'm trying to do my own thing. And he was like, yo,
Right.
just come up and listen to him. And when I got into the meeting, I'm sitting there and he goes, we got, I think it was $3.2 million to run a New York State Fatherhood Initiative. And I really want you to run this for the entire state. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, wait, what? The entire state? And then finally I get to this position where I'm like, well, how much does it pay? And he writes it on a piece of paper and he slides it across the table to me.
In
And I'm
TV
like,
fashion.
right. And I'm looking at the amount. It was more money than I had ever made in my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember coming to the house and showing you the paper and said, this is what they said they was going to pay me.
Mm-hmm.
And you were like, so what's the problem, bro? Because you ain't got a job right now, got no benefits. What's there to think about?
Right. The only thing I was wishing was, did you slide it back and have a higher amount on it?
But you said something significant, and you said, let's pray about it.
Mm.
That wasn't a go do it. That wasn't a you losing your mind. That was not a I don't trust you. That was let's get an answer from somewhere where the answer should come from.
Mm.
And I didn't have to pray long. I probably prayed for 2 seconds, right? I was like, God, what
should I do? Take it? Got it.
Got you. Let's go. Let's go with it. And so, but that was me walking into my purpose and being compensated for that. So by the time we had gotten to the contract, now I have a support person that I don't have to worry about my finances anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can do what Kenny Braswell was purposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And do all the things, bring all the money in, and still know that I'm not going to get caught up by the finance bug anymore, at least not in this way. I'll be caught by the lack of finances, but I won't be caught by getting entangled and not understanding how to manage my finances.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember us making the decision that we needed to set up at least 2 or more accounts.
Yeah.
Because my wonderful husband it's still today, he will spend, but I was like, babe, I need you to have your money over here for business. And because it wasn't frivolous.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you've never been really frivolous with spending. It's just been like, but you have a vision, and it's like, hey, if I need this camera's part of the vision. And I'll go look at the checking account and be like, you do know that we need to pay our utility bill, right? So what was it like for you, though? Because even though you had not managed it well, you still managed it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it like for you to have someone come along and was like, almost telling you, like, this is how we got to do it. If we want to be successful, this is what we need to do.
I think for me, it was getting you to a space where I knew you would be comfortable with me understanding not to function outside of my means.
Mm-hmm.
That was juxtaposed up against what God has said to me very clearly. I still function today on that, which is resources will never be your issue in your calling.
Mm-hmm.
You will never need for your calling. I will always provide for you for that. I may not give you the extra, right? But within your calling, this what we have right now, what people are watching, this is me functioning within my calling. And there has never been a time that I have wavered, to your point about a camera. If it is something that I need and I look at it, I've never had to worry about whether or not I have the resources to do it, because I have the resources to do it. But I also know at the same time that not only you, but our CFO is comfortable in knowing that while Kenny will do things for necessity and calling, he will never do anything outside of our means of resources, right? And so that has always been the comfort point that I've always wanted to create, which is, and I say this all the time, I eat what I kill. If there's something I want to kill, or something I want to eat, I know that there's something out there I have to go kill in order to eat it. And so if there's something too big, I'm not going to indulge until I have actually captured it, so that it doesn't impact the necessity and the livelihood that is our normal everyday functioning outside of that. Now, some days it could feel tight, but it is never overwhelming to me. And it is never as a result of anything that I'm doing. We're in an experience right now where things are happening, but it's not as a result of anything that we're doing. It's as a result of what somebody else is doing. But even in the midst of that, it is the resource that God promised me, right? And so I'm always comfortable with, even though you are stressing me to high heaven right now, I know that that resource is mine. Sooner or later, I'm going to get. Remember, we had this conversation one day, and you said, what if they never pay you or something? You said
I
like
did
that.
say that. Yep.
And I said, you're out of your mind, because that's not what God told me. That ain't, that's an impossibility. It's not going to happen. And even if it doesn't come there, it's coming somewhere else.
Right.
But he's already given me this.
Yeah.
It's mine. They giving it to me. I just don't know when. But then that falls into what I always say about my asking and my praying to God. The three answers is yes, not now, and I have something else for you. If it is yes, and I don't have it, then the answer is probably not now, which is pump your brakes, relax. You're going to get it, because there's something else I'm charging you with right now. You don't need that right now. And on top of that, every once in a while, I still need to test your faith, bro. Because I need to understand very clearly whether or not you think your prosperity is as a result of you or me. Right? And that's when I find my comfort level, and that's when I sit back and I get calm, and it's like, it's because of you. I'm in no doubt that it is because of you, but I'm also not going to dismiss the fact that I'm still a little nervous. I'm Peter. It's my Peter moment. It's going to be quick, and I am going to sink a little bit. You see my sink. But right after I feel myself sinking, it's like, get focused back on the faith piece of it, because he's already told you, lock back into that. Or I have something else for you, which is, you're focused on this, but this is not what I'm trying to get you to. Because in the midst of that little small struggle, if I told you right now what God has blessed us in on the outside of that, you would look at me and be like, are you serious? You was worried about that little teeny tiny contract when you had these other two things, enormous as they are in the space? Yeah, I did have that. And so I think, back to your point, for me, it has been for me to always make sure that you, my family, my kids, even my staff, people who work around me, know that for him, resources will always be available. And if we are in his space, I know resources will show up. And if nothing else is true about who he is and what he does, that does happen and come to fruition. And I think that my comfortability around all of you, my family, my friends, my people, my coworkers, my folks who are, around us. I think my comfort level is in knowing that you all understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't freak out, when it comes to, it's just like, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. So let's fast forward to the seasoned years.
I know, right? Yeah.
Right? What's your biggest concern about going into, if you plan to retire, what you want finances to look like? Because I often think about, when we're younger, literally sets the stage for potentially what we're going to experience when we're older, right? So the seeds that we planted along the way, right? And so if we've never learned financial management, how that shows up when you're a senior, right? And then you're a greeter at a store, right? Or if you've planted seeds and you've built a legacy, like so what is that for you? What are you thinking in this season? What's your big concern?
Time. And not even money. I know I have all the abilities in the world to make as much money as I ever desired to make. The question for me right now is time. Like, how much time do I have to do it? How much time will I have to enjoy it? Do I have enough time to create what I need to create to make sure that everybody that I am responsible for will be okay in the unfortunate incident that I'm not here, right? I think about when we first came to Atlanta and I got into that. It wasn't even a car accident. I got into an accident coming from the airport.
I remember that.
Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And I get all the way home. So I'm on the highway, I run, there's this construction sign on 285, and there's tractor trailers in front of me, and it flies by this construction sign, and the wind drift of the tractor trailer lifts the sign up into the air, and it comes flying towards the car. It hits the ground before it hits the car, but I hit the sign, and all I can hear is just screeching and scratching, and I pull over to the side, and I get out the car, and there's this sign that's stuck to my car. And I pull over to the other side because cars coming around the road, and I don't want anybody to run into me and kill me. So I pull off to the other side, and I bend down, and I pull the sign out, and the sign kind of comes apart, and I leave on the side, but it's like 12 o'clock at night or 1 o'clock in the morning, and the car's still driving, and I'm like, okay, I don't know. Maybe the sign just got stuck up underneath the car. I pulled it out, and now I'm good. I didn't hit anybody. Nobody hit me. I drive all the way home. I never tell Tracy that anything happened. I get up the next morning, and I go downstairs just to see what's going on with the car. And there's a pole that's sticking out the bottom of the car, probably about 12 inches out the front of the car. And I was like, oh, I need to get up. And I think I came back upstairs and told you about it. And I said, oh, I'm going over to Kia for them to check on the car to make sure it's okay. There's no damage other than this pole that's sticking out the front of the car. I'm just going to go over there to have them pull it out.
And that was a brand new, you literally had just bought that car.
Like, wasn't even a week old.
It was not.
It wasn't even a week old. And I get to the dealership, and I'm inside, and the guy comes inside. He says, come out. I want to show you something. And I'm like, okay, something is bad with the car. And he has the hood open, and he shows me the bar, and there's a much longer piece of the bar under the car than it was sticking out the car. And the pole was up against the metal block thing that is between the driver and the engine. And the pole was up against the block. And he said to me, he says, man, you're a lucky man. And I said, why? He says, because this pole actually stopped this. He says, if that thing wasn't there, it literally would have came up through and pierced and went right straight through you and the seat. That it was this thing that blocked that pole from flying through there. And I walked out of there, and I was like, whoa. how life could have changed for everybody at that moment.
Right.
And I think I immediately came and I said, I don't have any insurance.
Yep.
I was like, y'all couldn't have buried me. Y'all couldn't have did anything with me. And I remember that guy coming into the office. He was like, so I'm like, listen, I ain't trying to hear any of that. I want the max of everything you got.
Right.
How much is it? I don't care.
Yep.
I want the max of everything that you got, because I need to make sure that in a space like that, then I'm not leaving this space and leaving my family burdened with my debts and with my dreams.
Right.
Right. And so time for me now is on top of knowing that if something happens today, you guys will at least be fine that way. But for my promise from God, what's the extra? Because I don't want them to just be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I am concerned with more than just Tracy and my children, but now I got 3 grandchildren, and I need to know that they're okay too. So this next leg of my seasoned life is not just about the prosperity for my intimate family, but what is it I'm leaving behind for my grandchildren, because I don't need them to need either, right? And I don't need for the people who work for me to have to find a job tomorrow. And I don't need my children trying to figure out how they're going to purchase their homes or pay for their weddings or pay for their tuition or any of those kinds of things. And my thinking now is, do I have enough time to make the level of money that I need to ensure that that happens? But he has promised me that too. Now my mind every day is just in how.
Right.
I think I know, but I'm waiting for that to begin to manifest itself, where once that is done, I can relax and rest. Right now, I am dog focused on whatever this thing I'm supposed to be doing to ensure that I build that level of legacy, that I engage in it and I don't miss the point.
Right. I would love to talk, because you kind of alluded to this. So in this seasoned life where people are looking to retire and they want to quit the 9 to 5s, but what I think about the people that still have purpose inside of them, that have unrealized dreams. So I would love to talk to the audience about pursuing new career paths at an older age, or maybe even starting a business, right? Because that all still ties into finances, right? Everyone, there are a certain group of people who actually want to retire and they want to just go and travel and they want to, enjoy their grandkids. And then there's the entrepreneurs who probably never want to do that, right? I remember when I was younger and I was counseling people, and always my big thing was, and still this is important to make sure that you're set for retirement, right? But also just recognizing that some people don't really want to retire.
Right. I don't.
Some people just don't see that.
I think that you retire from your vocation. You don't retire from your purpose.
Right. So kind of talk to the audience a little bit about what pursuing a new path in your seasoned years, because we're right now as we speak, this is new. It's completely
absolutely
new.
Yeah.
Right. So talk about what that looks like, because it can come with a lot of fear, and then of course the concern about the time. And so and those things can literally hold you hostage, right? If you start harping on the I'm too old, I don't have enough time.
Yeah.
Right. So I would just want to just get your thoughts to the audience on where your headspace is now and why you thought this was important enough to pursue.
I think that in the middle of this season stuff that I'm doing, especially even writing the book and finishing the book, right? And looking at the girth of that book, right? It's like, man, you poured a lot of stuff into this book, which means there's a lot of stuff that could be taken out of that book, right? And I'm still somewhat evolving into the space of what to do with it. But literally, in talking to you today, have come to an epiphany, right? That epiphany is why and what I can give away for free. This is why and what. How it's got to cost you. Because now you're digging into the mechanics of what I've learned over the 60 plus years of my life. And that cannot be free. I can inspire you by telling you my story. I can make connection to my story, to the content. But when you get to how you do it, how is it done, that costs you. So I can talk all day about why. I can tell you stories on what led me to where I am. I can talk to you about the what. Why is this relevant? What is it relevant to? But when you begin to start asking me how, that's going to cost you. And I think the entrepreneurial side of me now is that I am extremely comfortable with talking about the why and the what. I'm also extremely comfortable in talking about the how, but that's the piece that has to stay behind the paywall, right? Because I think that the moment you start giving away your how, people don't appreciate your why. They don't care about your why, right? Once you start giving away your how. And when we look at those that are most successful today in the space that we admire, the Myron Goldens, the Russell Bronsons, the Lamar and Ronnie Tylers of the world, T.D. Jakes, we can roll down a whole list of people that I'm watching them speak and I'm saying, but they're giving away stuff free all the time. But then I had to start listening to it and it was like, no, what they're giving away is the why and the what. You ain't getting the how unless you come into the space and give value to the how. The business part of it is the giving value to the how.
Do you think that that's one of the biggest money lessons that you've learned over
Absolutely.
the years?
Absolutely.
Because I just, when you said that, it just reminded me of when you first got started with Fathers Incorporated. And this is right after you had tendered your resignation with New York State. And you were going on road trips. Well, we were on road trips,
yes, we were.
Right? You had your new book, and we would sometimes go places, and people wouldn't even be there, paying for tables to sell the books. I remember one event we went to, and it was a torrential downpour.
Yeah.
So there was like no one there.
Okay.
And I just remember you and I having a conversation about being really intentional about make the investment in the business, but also make sure that there's some sort of a return.
Absolutely.
And so what I'm hearing now is in your journey, you've gotten to that space now where you recognize you don't have to give it away for free.
Absolutely.
That there is a component. Because I remember also you and I butting heads about what you charge for your speaker's fee.
Absolutely.
But your thing was like, yeah, but nobody knows me. And I was like, it doesn't matter because it's what you bring. It's the value that you're bringing to the table. And so I think too, as we step into seasoned spaces, remembering the value that we bring to the table, right? It's not that we've got to have some major platform, but we have a circle of influence. We have people that we are placed on earth to commune with, to fellowship with, and to influence, empower, encourage, right? Educate. Like we've got this circle. And our purpose is to have impact in that circle. And so,
But you know why I think that for most entrepreneurs, the business doesn't work when it comes to the community, the tribe? It's because they are focused on thinking that the tribe that they are currently in
right.
is going to be the tribe that is going to support them.
Yeah. And you
Now,
and I had that
right.
conversation.
But now let me tell you why the
Yeah.
tribe that you're in doesn't support you.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've been along your journey
Right.
of the why and what. And now they can't distinguish the difference between the why, the what, and the how, because in their minds, the how is part of the why and what. So they devalue the how, right? When you are looking for your own tribe, they don't know the why, the how, the why, the what, or the how. And so when you're talking and you're trying to pull in the newer tribe, you are reeling in the tribe by telling your why and telling your what. But when they get to you, now that you are ingratiating yourself in my why and what, now I can offer you the how. But you have to
So, I
value
mean,
my how at a different level.
we can so to take this spiritual real quick, Jesus, when he goes back home, aren't you Joseph's son, the
Right.
carpenter, the
Right.
carpenter's son,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm.
And so they didn't value who he was.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, in that passage, Jesus can't even heal
Right.
because of the unbelief that they had, the lack of value, the lack of unbelieving that, he was who he was. And but he can go everywhere else and speaking to Gentiles who aren't necessarily believers, right? But they're willing to believe him, they're willing to follow him, they see the value. They see him for who he is. I think that, we, to your point, have to remember there's going to be a group of people that know us and they take us for granted,
Right.
right? They're complacent because they've just been there and they think they know based on their close proximity of you.
Mm-hmm. But here's the beauty in that story, because one would look at that story and say, "Well, Jesus never charged me for the word." Yeah, he did. You just missed it. Well, how did Jesus charge me for the word? Well, he told you my why and he told you my what. But then he said to you that the only way to my Father is through me, which means that you got to value that and you got to pay something to get to him. You just don't get to him without going through me. It costs to get to my Father. Now, it's not monetary, but the
Right.
principle is the same.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you why you should believe in the word. Now I'm going to tell you what the word is, and I'm going to tell you why you should be in the word. But if you want to know how to get the ultimate value of what the word is, in order to get it, you have to come through me to get to him. God set it up that way because God knew that in order to get them to buy into your what and your how is I had to give them to show value in your how, right? And because when we follow him, that's literally what we're doing. We are paying homage to the how, because the word is asking us to give something at every juncture, whether it's forgiveness, whether it's love, whether it's fellowship, whether it's tithes, whether it's whatever. So we are always paying for the word. Now, we don't think about it because it's not commerce, right? But in principle, we are always paying for the word. So if it costs me to get to the Father through that way, it's got to cost you also to get my how. That's part of what it looks like and part of what it is. And so from a Christian point of view, It's the principle, and the principle is the same across not just the kingdom, but across the world, right? The world and the kingdom is the same. It's just how they occupy it and how they function in both of those things. But the principles are the same. And so when it comes to our work and it comes to our value and it comes to our business and the things you're doing, people will think that it's not, that I shouldn't, like entrepreneurs do this, right? I shouldn't charge people for that. Or to your point to me, I shouldn't charge them that much. If you don't value your how, no one else is going to value your how.
Right.
And if the current grouping of people that you're in doesn't value your how, you're talking to the wrong community. The scripture that I lean on all the time is sheep hear the voice of their shepherd. So if you're talking to sheep that don't hear you, they're not your sheep. You're in the wrong pasture.
Either that or you're not a leader.
You're not a shepherd.
That too.
Right? But you got to get out of that. You got to get away from that herd.
Yeah.
That herd is around you because you're comfortable. You keep the wolves away. They're not around you because they hear your voice. Like if you stand up and move, they got to move because you say move, not because you're safe. And so when you don't have that tribe, you literally got to get out into the world and speak your truth in a way that sheep get the opportunity to hear your voice and says, that's it right there.
Right.
I got to follow that.
Yeah. So we are definitely going into entrepreneurship.
I know, right?
So we'll have to do another. Yeah.
And we got a lot of entrepreneurs around us at various stages, right? Everybody is trying to figure this thing out. And I think so there is the mechanics of entrepreneurship and there is the principles of entrepreneurship. One doesn't happen without the other. If you don't understand the principles, it's very hard to engage in the mechanics.
So I think that's a good place to leave off on.
I think that's a drop the mic moment. Tweet that.
So do you want to take us out on some announcement or any news or anything like that?
Well, you always preach to me what the announcements are, right? For buy my book.
Buy the book.
Right? If you want to know my why, if you want to know my what, read the book, right? Seasoned Conversations is me, my why, and my what. It's my wife's why and what. It's seasoned people's why and what. But if you want to know how, stay in contact. I'll let you know how.
Yeah. And in the comments, drop some topics. Like he and I have some great topics. I'd love to hear what the audience would want to talk about as well. So in the comments, drop some topics in there, and we'll see if we can't get to them.
Yeah, we just talked about one today, validation.
Yep, don't go too far.
Ooh, I'm not going to go. I'm just going to drop it out there. I'm just going to drop it out there. Yeah. Validation. We're going to come at that one.
Okay.
All right, you going to close us out?
I don't even know how to.
Listen, thank you for joining us on Seasoned Conversations. I'm your co-host, Kenneth Braswell, my lovely wife, Tracy Braswell. Happy 15th anniversary again. This is happening. And she looking like fine as camel hair.
What in the world does that even mean?
It's like Shannon Sharp's grandmother's always said, looking fine as camel hair. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Go to the Seasoned Collective to find out everything you need to find out about us. Purchase 2 Seasons of Care. I'm on Amazon. The Audible book is on Audible. It's also on iTunes. Go to theseasoncollective.com to find out about all the other tools and resources that we have. Join us on our Facebook page, our Facebook group, our Instagram page, our LinkedIn page. And so until next time, be safe and God bless. Thank you for tuning in to Seasoned Conversations, where wisdom meets experience and every story reminds us that life gets better with time. If you've been inspired by our guests and conversations, don't stop here. Continue your journey by grabbing your copy of 2 Seasons to Care, now available on Amazon, iTunes, Audible, and our website at theseasoncollective.com. And while you're there, join the Seasoned Collective, a growing community of thinkers, dreamers, and doers who are embracing the power of being seasoned. And make sure you stay connected with us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube for new episodes, live events, and exclusive content that keeps you growing with grace, purpose, and wisdom. Because when experience speaks, the world listens. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you for joining me for today's seasoned conversation. Remember, every step we take shapes the legacy we leave. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone else navigating their own seasoned journey. To learn more and to become part of our growing community, visit us at theseasoncollective.com. Until next time, stay seasoned, stay purposeful, and remember, it's never too late to care deeply, to live boldly, and to rewrite your story.